Identifying.
The king of cakes. Chopper for the win.
G'day guys, welcome back to Cakes by Chopper. Today we have a Ninja Turtle shell cake. I was thinking of something that's quick, easy, Ninja Turtle themed, that's not a head so you're not really trying to attempt something tricky. And I've come up with this design. It's got weapons, it's a cool turtle shell, I love it, and I hope you guys like it too. If you want to learn how to make it, stick around. Alrighty, to begin, we're going to make sure we've printed off our template from the Cakes by Chopper Facebook page. I will also add these lines to this side of the template, so if you want something to follow, it's going to be much easier for you. Cut out your main shape. Place your cutout on the cake in the same way the template was positioned, that way you'll have the room for the cake. And then just cut them out with your knife vertical all the way around, and then we'll stack them on top, ready to carve. With your little side pieces, you're going to put them on the side of the cake, cut it out as one, then you're just going to halve it and cut that into 3 sections. You only need 10, but I've put 12 in the template. With the bottom layer, because my cake is crooked, I'm just going to level that off slightly. Now you're just going to go around, leaving that middle point high, take off the edges all the way around. It's best to just work piece by piece, little bits at a time, till you get that nice turtle shell dome. Now a great tip here is to rotate your cake and see how you've got the dome shape. I can see there's a little point there that's a bit too high, so I can take that off. As I mentioned before, for our side pieces, we're going to cut them in half and then into 3. So that'll give us 6 pieces, and that's going to go around the edge. Actually, my cake's a little tall, so I'm going to trim them off just a little bit. Now, if we look at the pattern on our turtle shell, you're going to have 5 either side. Now that our 10 pieces are all cut out, we are ready to fill this cake with ganache, cover it in the ganache again, and then we're going to glue them on at the sides, rounding them off a little bit, ready for the fondant cover. Another little tip for you, if you're a bit gnarly with your carving and you're just learning, you can always correct it with a little bit more ganache. Like there's a little dip at the side here that I noticed. I just put a little bit extra ganache and smooth that over, and it hides all your mistakes. So that's a good one to keep in mind. I just thought to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to take our little squares here and I'm going to just chop the corners off to round them out a little bit. So I'll just go in, nip the corner, that's going to help round out that edge, and just do that on all of them. Another reminder that when you're putting on the shell rim, you're going to make sure there's a break at the front and the back, and then the pieces should just fall in line. There should be 5 either side. I've slightly heated up this ganache just to make it go on a lot easier. I know some of you out there are thinking, man, this is tedious. If you want to skip this step of cutting out the little pieces for the border, you can just cover the shell normally like a dome and then add a fondant snake and put the lines in. I personally wanted the cake there, so it's up to you. If you want to skip that step and make it easier on yourself, go ahead. No one's going to judge you. So put that into the fridge for 5 minutes. It's actually set quite firm. I'm going to go over and just clean it up a little bit because we want to get it as smooth as we can, ready for the fondant. Fill in any little gaps in your ganache so you don't get air bubbles later on. Because I'm genuinely curious, who was your favorite Ninja Turtle if you had one? I used to be like the biggest Donatello fan, and then I realized that Raph was actually the coolest. Have him on set, he's the greatest, but who was your favorite? Okay, that's looking pretty good to me. Now it's time to move on to our fondant. For your fondant, you're gonna chuck down a layer of cornstarch and then roll it out to an average thickness because we are gonna put some indentations in it. If you want to carve into the chocolate, you can. I prefer to leave it like that and just use the fondant. If you don't like the fondant, you can also use modeling chocolate, up to you. Now I'm just gonna roll my fondant back over the roller, place it on top of the cake and start smoothing it out. Pull the pleats out as you go and just work your way down, making sure there's no air trapped in the top. And then I'm gonna use my finger, slide around the edge to push out that air bubble. And I'm gonna cut the excess off. I'm leaving about 1 centimeter around the edge. This is where I'm gonna get some of my shaping tools, and they're gonna come in very handy to get the kind of definition I want. Now go around the edge of that shell, make sure you're not cutting into the actual cake, you're leaving a little bit out so we can tuck that under, and I'm gonna go around and just follow the curvature of those little shell bumps. Now I'm gonna go around the edge with my finger and this tool and just round off those little edges and tuck them under, and we can push in to get the little ridges. So as I mentioned before, the template that you'll have will have the larger lines, so you can put it on top and trace it so you get an idea. I kind of know where it goes already, so I'm just going to freehand it. You can do it either way. Now this part's totally optional. I'm going to get a little bit of green petal dust, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a color change in around the grooves. Applying this petal dust is actually going to give your shell a little bit of character and make it not look so flat. And if it looks too thick in any sort of area, just go in a circular motion like this and just buffer it out. Now, because I want this cake to have weapons, I've rolled out a belt of brown fondant, the same thickness all the way along, but I'm going to use a light fondant and then put brown accents along the edge. But I'm doing this off the cake because of the fallout. We don't want this going all over our cake, and we're trying to make a weathered belt look. Then I'm going to gently lift that belt up, give it a bit of a shake, place it where I want it in the middle, and just let that fall. Hopefully it's measured correctly. And then just trim that off so it looks like it goes around. Save your offcuts, because we're going to use them to put over the weapons. So now that our turtle shell is basically done, I want to add some weapons to it. Now there's a couple of ways you could approach this. You could print them on wafer paper, you can make them with modeling chocolate, which is what I'm going to do, or you could just have a toy set handy and you could apply them around the cake. And this is where you'd choose who you want, whether you want Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, or Raphael. Obviously, being the fan of red, I'm choosing Raph, and I don't want to open my toy, so let's make some modeling chocolate size. Okay, to make the size, I've rolled 2 long points for the middle of the blades. Then I'm going to roll a bumper. I'll just do a log. This is picking up the brown dust, by the way. Don't worry about that. It's just the petal dust. Place them on the end, a flat piece. Now for the sides of his sai, I'm going to roll out another. Okay, now I roughly have the same width. Now I'm going to taper the edges down. Place that on where the handle is. Okay, we have 2 sais. Now that looks a little too big for what I want, so I'm going to trim that down. Perfect. Now that the sais are out of the fridge, they're quite firm. You can pick them up. They're ready to go on the cake. But I'm just going to paint them first with some edible silver paint and some brown handles, and then we'll apply them. When the paint hits the handles, it's going to caramelize a little bit with the sugar. I don't know if that's what the right word is, but it's going to mix with the sugars a little bit. So if you just cover it first, let it sit for a bit, then use your brush to gently stroke in different directions, you're going to get a pattern that's going to look like a woven band. Now normally with the sais I would say let them completely dry before you put them on the cake, but I'm impatient and I'm filming, so I'm going to shift them over, attach some little bands to make it look like they're tucked into the back of the belt, and you finished your cake. Well, there you go. We have our Ninja Turtle shell complete with edible weapons. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you're not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. I've got lots of cakes coming your way. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you next time. Bye guys. Oh, if you're still here, why not check out one of my other videos? Just click here. Or you can check out the awesome YouTuber that I've got featured. Thanks guys, bye.